philosophers alive in our time who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer. A pop star or a politician?
Politician.
Any ideas who it might have been?
Ronald Reagan.
Barack Obama.
Was it?
Yeah, with his...
Was that recent? I didn't...
His victory speech.
Gosh.
In 2008. Okay.
So 1-0 there.
1-0
to Philip.
Surprise.
If it was British, I might know better. But I remember when he was elected, but obviously didn't listen to everything.
Okay, next one. I'm supposed to be the soldier who never... I can't do it. I'm not going to do that one because it'll rhyme and it sounds awful. Okay. In the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. But if you only have love for your own race, then you only live space to discriminate. Pop star or politician?
Politician, Martin Luther King.
No, it was pop star, Black Eyed Peas.
Really?
Where is the love? Back in 2003.
Actually, he wasn't a politician, was he? He was more of a preacher.
Yeah, I looked into this one last night. He was
a civil rights campaigner.
Yeah.
I remember when he was tragically shot. I was in I suppose I would have been about 12 or 13 then. Yeah, it was awful.
Did that have an effect in Britain, like on in politics in Britain, with people?
Well, I think obviously it brought the civil rights thing to the fore more, and obviously it was in the news and discussed a lot. But I remember it was in 1968 and there was quite a traumatic decade, because obviously you had President John F. Kennedy was shot in 1963, and then his brother Robert Kennedy was shot in 68, the same year as Martin Luther King. Yeah. It was quite a tragic decade for terrible assassinations in America.
Gosh. Okay, well, should we go for another song then? I guess that's 1-1. Should we leave it as a draw, or should we go for one more?
Go on, do one more. We'll do a tiebreaker.
Okay, so this one is decided. Okay. You're on the road, but you've got no destination. You're in the mud, in the maze of her. Imagine in the maze of her imagination. Sorry.
This feature would run so much smoother if Liam could learn to read.
You love this town, even if that doesn't ring true. You've been all over it, and it's been all over you. Pop star or politician?
Sounds like a politician, because he's been all over a town, and he's feeling the effects of probably treading the streets for a long time. Perhaps.
Well, I can see what you're saying there, but unfortunately, it was a pop star.
Really?
Yeah, it was that's a U2 song, "Beautiful Day" by U2.
Oh, well, I haven't heard that one before.
Okay, well, I guess that's that. But
well, Liam, you've actually succeeded. You've won one.
Yeah,
this never happened.
I'm on a learning curve. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Another track you selected was from a BBC production of Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
What was the decision behind this choice?
Well, I do like classical literature. I'm very keen on Jane Austen, actually, and she was quite satirical and quite funny. I mean, she was alive 200 years ago, and I have read her books over time, and in fact, was partly on my degree in English and history. So, and I've also visited her home in Hampshire as well, where she lived, near Andover.
Interesting choice. Okay, well, this is the opening title music from Pride and Prejudice, BBC production. Enjoy.
This is Nerve Radio with Harry Munday and Liam Southall.
Oh, okay then. That was Lily Allen, which is a choice of Philip Glover, the UKIP candidate for Bournemouth West. I was just listening to that song. There was one of the lyrics in there said, "Do you think he's ever done tax evasion?" Which I suppose is kind of a poignant remark. So I just wondering what your views were on, because obviously having not been an MP involved in any of the scandal or anything, what your views were on the MPs who have kind of got caught up in that.
I think they really should not be MPs, quite honestly. I mean, a lot of them are what I would call self-serving people. They go and obviously try and get lobbying work from abusing their position as an MP. They get financial rewarded for that. Now, if I was an MP, I'd like to make that illegal for a start. No lobbying for financial reward. Also, I believe that the expenses side of it, where they've been claiming for duck houses and things, I think they should be prosecuted, actually. But the thing is, they've done it within the law as it stands, which is a shame. But I mean, some of them have been obviously swindling their mortgages because the mortgages on some were apparently already paid, and they were still claiming for them. Well, I think there shouldn't be a second home as allowance anyway. I think what they should do, give them a accommodation allowance up in London, or give them hotel style accommodation free up there to use when they are up there.
That's quite an interesting idea, almost like not student halls, but something of that, of
probably,
that nature.
Probably an ensuite self-catering flat or something like that, where they can at least have their wives or partners with them.
Yeah, no, that's a really good. That's not an idea that's sort of come forward from we've heard from the others. That's an interesting take on it because. Yeah, I wonder if yeah.
So their main home is in their constituency or near it or wherever they choose to have their home,
and then they have
the second home is replaced with just accommodation near Parliament.
It's a necessary accommodation rather than sort of lavish.
That's it, where they can live
houses.
And somewhere to retire to after a day's work.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject. Another one for the next people who take over, I suppose. Should we go for another song then? And
okay. So another choice of yours is "Wet, Wet, Wet." Love is all around. I was wondering, is this just a song that you like, or is there anything?
Well, I suppose it's just that I just like it. Really, it brings back memories of earlier times in my life, and I quite like it. That's all. Something that's personal and stimulating to me to listen to.
Okay then, so this is Wet, Wet, Wet. Love is all around.
I'm going to go back local now as well. Philip, if there was one thing you could change about Bournemouth, or one thing that you think if you came to represent Bournemouth West, what would be one of the changes you would make? For
it was if you could only just sort of do one thing, what would your priority be?
Bringing local democracy to the people. I believe in far more referenda where the population can actually decide the issues that affect them. So rather than having elected councillors make decisions, I'd like to see the population being asked about key decisions they'd like made, let's say on hospitals or road building or speed limits or whatever. It should all be in the hands of local people to decide that, and not have it imposed upon them by the local authority without representation directly.
So would that be through through voting within Bournemouth itself
obviously this would be a national thing more, but I'm thinking of Bournemouth itself being affected by it. If, let's say, the residents felt very strongly about something and they could petition the council to say we want a referendum on this issue, and if so many people sign the petition out of a percentage, let's say about 10% of the population in a particular area sign a petition, then they should be able to have a referendum on that particular issue that's been requested from the petition.
It's almost sort of power back to the local people.
That's it. Well, they're the ones who put the councillors there in the first place, and MPs, obviously, on a national scale. And I think it should be more power should be given to people. What do I call getting tongue-tied now? Direct democracy.
Okay, so we're coming up to the end of the show now. We've had an hour with Philip. We've pretty much said to everyone, and sum up your why people should vote for you on Thursday. So, I mean, why should people vote for you on Thursday?
Well, I think I'm a good ambassador for students generally. Obviously, I'm hitting the student population here, and you've already heard what I've said about myself before, that I was a mature student 10 years ago. I have a lot of student sympathies, and I will stand up for student grants rather than student loans. That's what I will do, and also finance towards higher education and education in generally. I'm for education, and I will do everything possible if I am elected to help pupils in schools, and also further education students and students in higher education. I'm a good ambassador for all of you, I hope.